Aloha and welcome to Maui Manao. I'm your host, Alan Teixeira, and today we'll be discussing Maui issues with our Maui State Senators, Senator J. Kalani English, Senator Rosalind Baker, and new Senate President, Senator Shan Tsutsui. I'd like to thank you, Senators, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. And our first question is, please describe how it has been working with the new Democratic administration under Governor Neil Abercrombie.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, you know, after 8 years of not being able to talk to people in the departments and to get information sent to us and to work collaboratively, it really is a breath of fresh air.
I think we've been really fortunate because the governor started off by appointing some really talented people at the cabinet level. Some of the Maui people are familiar with Calbert Young, who is the Maui finance director, and is now the new budget and finance director for the state. Of course, for Fred Pablo, who is the new tax director, and so we're really pleased with some of the governor's selections and his willingness and openness to just have us communicate with him. He started doing weekly breakfasts, and we do a rotation where different legislators get to go and have breakfast with the governor, so that we kind of share some of our ideas and express the different concerns that we have with some of the policy issues that are before us.
And one of the things, the last administration was very protective of their ideas and bills that they had. This governor, partly I think because he came in sort of close to the time that we had to introduce legislation, but was very open to having individual senators and representatives carry administration bills. So for example, Senate Bill 99, which is the reorganization of the PUC, I was able to work collaboratively with his administration to come up with the basic design and format for that bill.
And that bill is very important for neighbor islands because the PUC is now made up of 3 members, and we want a 5-member panel that will incorporate neighbor islanders and also have 2 separate panels, right?
Panels, right.
Yeah, one dealing with transportation issues and one dealing with energy issues. So, we hope that would move, first of all, the energy issues ahead because we really need to get those going, but also provide more input from the neighbor islands in the process. And that's a hallmark of, I think, this new administration is that they're really trying to bring in the best thinking from different parts of Hawaii. It's less Oahu-centric than it used to be.
And like Senator Baker said, the sharing of information is so critical for us because we work under such a tight time schedule of 60 days, that the quicker we can get the information from the different departments, whether it's Department of Budget and Finance, DBED, or whichever department, it allows us to better, adjust some of the measures that are before us and make the proper changes in a timely manner. So it's really like Senator Baker said, a breath of fresh air.
Excellent. The Hawaii State Senate has the sole authority to confirm the governor's appointments to all the various state departments. Would you like to comment on any of the 16 confirmations the Senate has approved thus far?
Well, I think we've approved some really good people. And, like just today we had the appointee for a judge in Maui coming to see us, and I think it was a very good choice. And we've been very fast to confirm these people to get them into their positions because we want the executive to get up and running and the departments to be set.
Well, Kalani makes an excellent point. Not only is it just the department heads or boards and commissions in the executive branch that the Senate confirms, but also the judges. And we had the opportunity to confirm the newest associate justice to the Supreme Court, who happens to be a woman. So for the first time in Hawaii's history, we have 2 women sitting as associate justices. So that was, I think, very exciting for all of us because she's not only very well qualified, but she brings an additional perspective. She's also the first graduate from the Richardson School of Law at UH to be sitting on the High Court. So it was a proud day for Hawaii.
Yeah, and I think the governor has had a great process, in terms of selecting the different people for the cabinets. And, it's not the political process that you would normally assume that would happen. He had a transition team that basically took a lot of applications. They did a ton of interviews and basically were able to select and narrow them down to a few individuals who were then forwarded to the governor for consideration. And so I know, for example, Calbert Young, they really didn't know each other until this whole process took place. And people started seeing, wow, we really have this talented individual here, and he might be the perfect person to lead us through this financial storm. And so far, I think he's done a fabulous job. Yeah.
Thank you. Maui is indeed fortunate to have two powerful committee chairs and a new Senate president. Do you think this will significantly help the County of Maui?
Of
Yes.
course it will.
No, actually, I mean, for for me, it's transportation is a very important issue for the neighbor islands, and that's why I wanted that committee. And we're looking at its air transportation, ground transportation, and sea transportation, and these are the links that bind Maui County, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Kaho'olawe, and it binds all of us. So it's important to have a neighbor, I think, to have a neighbor island view, because then we make sure the resources get out to the neighbor islands. I also want to comment that we are indeed fortunate to have Shan as our president. First neighbor islander as a president, one of the youngest presidents, and for I think for Roz and I can say this, that we're very proud to have a Maui person as the president.
Because even though he is, got a sort of right herd on all 24 of the rest of us senators, he adds that perspective of being able to make sure that Maui interests, neighbor island interests are taken care of in all the committees and in the budget and in the CIP, because he has a hand in that, and it's really so critical. I'm happy to be at Consumer Protection because it gives us an opportunity to look at some issues that are very important, like dealing with the foreclosure crisis from a Maui lens or from a neighbor island lens. And we know that both Big Island and Maui have had more than their share of those difficulties. And so trying to craft something that's going to help our residents as best we can, whether they're in a single family residence or in a condominium, is really important.
And I think, one thing that, is really important is that although, every so often our roles and our responsibilities change within the Senate, one thing that really hasn't changed is our commitment to each other and our commitment to the people back in Maui County. And, we've always said this from the beginning, back in 2002 when this team was first formed, is that, we really work as a team, and we really try to make sure that as we put ourselves in different positions of responsibility, that we kind of cover all the different areas so that that Maui County is best represented. The last thing we'd want is for all of us to be in one committee and none of us on another. And so, we really look at this as a team effort. It's not just about one individual being in a certain position, but rather what the three of us can do, utilizing some of our talents and skills, and making sure that, again, we'll be able to respond to the constituency back in Maui County in the best way possible.
Yeah, I mean, by way of example, there was a House bill that came through my committee recently that dealt with flood mitigation. But the bill was only dealing with Farrington Highway here on Oahu. So we amended the bill to include Kihei, to include areas of Molokai, to include areas in Kahului, the Big Island, Kauai. We made sure that all the flood areas were addressed in the bill. And, I mean, it made it a better bill, but without that neighbor island perspective. And we also took in the rural areas of Oahu in the bill, too. And that's the kind of things that, the team here can do, is we look at it and say, okay, this applies to everyone. So we're a good team.
Yes,
Maui is
we try to
very
make sure all
lucky.
of the bases are covered.
Right.
Maui is very lucky.